We're good.
We're good. Well, thank you. Dan, how are you?
I'm wonderful, Will. How you doing?
Very good. So I'm excited about today's show. We have a doctor on who I've known. I mean, we grew up together. So I've known Dr. Romi Raina for 30 years. But before he does come on, we're mixing it up a bit today. We're going to talk a little bit about, we mentioned in the last episode about real estate. And I thought I'd, just mention what's going on with the market briefly. And where are my notes here? The market, is, Toronto market, they released today, is down 69%. Condos are down even more. And I think because condos have a bit more rules tied to around people being allowed to access the buildings during this whole pandemic. But Durham region is down about 50%. But the thing that people need to notice that pricing is down less than 2%. So the market is doing what everyone is saying it's doing. People are taking a pause. People see a property they're going to buy, they'll buy it at market value. But come, June or July, when these conditions loosen up, the market will pick right back up to where it was. If people are looking at, selling their homes this year, now is the best time to, paint, repair, clean your house, and get it ready to hit the market. Because once they start loosening up these conditions there, Dan, there's going to be a flurry of homes hitting the market, and you want your home to stand out.
But
So
what
as I
if
mentioned,
but,
what's
what-
that?
but what if you're uselessly handy like me, and I can't get a painter to come into the house to do those jobs for me?
Well, you can do exterior painting, right? So any kind of garage doors, seal your driveway. Like curb appeal is also important. If you can't get someone into your home to help you paint and repair things, then clean your home, deep clean it, set up your back patio, set up a little area on your front porch, buy plants, make the approach to your home that much more appealing. Where there's a few things that are in your home that are not perfect, people may forgive. Also, if you are looking at maybe buying, even buying or selling, talk to a mortgage person. Right now, there are a lot more rules, a lot more things involved in getting an approval. Employment for many people right now is precarious, so you want to make sure that you have a plan in place with your mortgage person or your bank, and that you're ready to go once you're ready to sort of either buy or sell. And then finally, review your own plan. Talk to your family, look at your finances, look at your employment, because some jobs, you don't know what may happen, come a second wave. There's a second wave during this pandemic. It's important that you have a concrete plan written down, and that you work with, again, mortgage people and a real estate agent like me to ensure that you have success in either buying or selling within the real estate market.
But would you really advise someone to buy right now with all the uncertainty? Because for me, like I've never bought a house where my mortgage didn't increase my payment, right?
Sure.
And so now, like downsizing, I get. If I was going to downsize, perfect. But somebody else is going to have to buy my house, which is probably
Right.
on their end. But with all this uncertainty and not knowing what your income levels are going to be like again in the near future, would it
Right.
really be a smart time to go out and buy a house?
I believe that every situation is different. So certainly, if you can hold off, hold off. But for some people, they can't. Some people, if you're looking at downsizing, or let's say if you're a new home buyer, you have nothing to sell. It's a pretty good market right now for you to go in with less buyers and buy a home that's within your budget. What we were seeing before the whole COVID-19 pandemic thing was multiple offers, lots of traffic. You're still seeing traffic at certain price points, but there's less traffic. So if there's a bidding war, instead of having 20 bids, there are now 5. So you have a better chance of getting a property that you want, and you have a bit more control as a buyer. So if you're a buyer that does not have a property to sell, you're in a good position. If you have a property to sell, and you're somehow able to purchase a property that's ideal for you and hold off, and there's certain ways you can sort of make things work for yourself. But my point is, if you're a person that does not have a property to sell and you need to buy, now is a pretty good time.
So what you're saying, because you know my brother very well, and
Oh,
so my brother went and bought a bigger condo in his same building, like
makes perfect sense.
a week before this whole mess happened. So now he's got to sell his current condo,
Right.
and he's moving like 10 floors up in his building to get a new one. So he's very happy right now. He's happy for two reasons. Number one, Tom Brady convinced Gronkowski to go with him to Tampa Bay.
Is that true? Today I saw the video.
That is true.
Well, he retired early, clearly. Yeah. No concussions, who knows? It's at NFL.
No, it's called he didn't like Belichick. That's it.
Yeah. And now Tom Brady, I'm a Tom Brady fan. I don't watch every football game. I've been to how many live games? Maybe 15 in my life.
Yeah, you're supposed to come with us.
Are you going if football happens, or I want to go?
You said that last time and then you backed out.
Well, I was in Florida. I will be there this year. I will go.
All right. If we go, you're in.
Yes. So again, if you have any real estate questions, guys, you don't have an agent, always give me a call. Message me, whatever, 905-626-7243. Is Romi now available?
No, he's not here.
Not here yet.
No,
okay.
you might want to shoot him a message. He's not.
I'm going to. I am going to send him a text.
Oh, wait a minute. You know what? I told him to come in at 1:15, so he's still got 2 minutes.
We got a couple minutes.
Yeah, we got a couple.
So what have you been watching?
What am I watching?
Yes.
I just started it yesterday.
Oh my god, dude! Oh my god! You know, I'm a Michael Jordan fanatic, and I had chills for 2 hours watching it this week. It was, you see, everyone talks about LeBron and Kobe Bryant and all these people. Oh, they're blah, 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 blah. No. Michael Jordan is the first self-made billionaire who's an athlete, and his brand still sells, I think, 50% of Nike sales per year. He's been retired for 20 years. And his impact on the game will be felt forever. And that documentary shows, I love the way they go sort of 97, 98. Well, you haven't watched the whole thing yet. 97, then they go back to his childhood, his high school. It's good.
I'm on episode 2 where Scottie Pippen's really pissed off about his contract.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah. He
I
was
don't
the
know if he that little.
120th paid player in the league or something.
And only made $18 million over 7 years from 91 to 98, whatever. Crazy.
And Charles Oakley slapped him in one of those episodes. It was great. I love Charles Oakley.
Yeah, so I forgot he was on the Bulls back in the 80s. But I can't wait because I hear like every episode focuses on another player. Like Steve Kerr's episode 9, and everyone has a role on that team. I think Dennis Rodman might be the next one, I think. But man, I love everything about the documentary.
Okay, Romi just checked into our new official waiting room, so I'm gonna let him in and try not to lose him. All right.
This is us doing this for the first time.
This is it. Here we go. I'm clicking the button. If we end up losing the recording, not on me.
Okay.
Okay.
I'm here.
I clicked admit. You're still there.
I am still here. Oh, look at this.
There.
So, can you hear us, Romi? Oh, no, he's muted.
He's muted. We need him.
Can you hear us now?
Yeah, I can. Now I can.
So,
guys.
We're very good. Love the books in the background.
I've been carefully arranging them all week just for this. Will, just
This is obviously a man who does a lot of podcasts. I got my ceiling in the background.
Well, he knows the stuff.
Yeah, well, I'm putting it to you guys now. Like, let's see less ceiling and maybe some other backdrop. You know, you guys are doing this regularly. I saw some of your previous stuff. It's great. I enjoy your work.
Well, thank you, Doctor.
Yeah. This is a new background for me. My son's playing video games, so I can't be in my usual couch.
Yeah, right on. Got to give him his space. I understand that.
Space.
Yes.
So, Dr. Romi Raina ND, owner of Collaborative Education, and has his own private practice. Romi, you've been a doctor now for what, a decade? More than that now?
Just a little more than that, yeah.
Yes, and I've known Romi, we met at 11. So 31 years ago.
Wow.
A lot more than a decade.
Yeah, many years. I've gained many pounds since then.
Will knew me before the beard, and not many people can say that.
You got a beard at 12 though, right?
Yeah.
So then you knew Will with hair.
I knew Will with hair, and I knew him when he was a little bit more svelte, let's say.
Now
you're trying to say when he had a chin.
I had a chin. I was
just a couple.
And how good of an athlete was I, Romi?
Amongst the five of us Indian guys, he was the fastest. Yeah.
Thank you. And and probably the best ball player on the court to right now.
Yeah. And about 4 inches taller than all of us. Yeah. No, it's true. All facts.
Yeah.
That's right. I just like to tell Dan these facts. So, Romi, thank you for joining us today.
No problem.
And, with this whole, pandemic and all the false information that's out there, I think it's always important to have a doctor on a show like ours, sort of discuss your thoughts, your impression of what's happening out there. And so, how would someone go about treat? I mean, you sent us some stuff to sort of discuss. Is there a way to treat COVID-19?
I'm glad you asked that question, Will. When it comes to our current understanding, I think the answer is a short answer, which is no. People might ask, I'm a naturopathic doctor, so they might ask me, are there natural ways to treat this? And I don't want to mislead anyone to think that. There might be some things in research right now and that are in development, and there's that race to the cure kind of happening. But I don't think anyone's claimed that prize yet. So until we're there, we're just following the advice from the health professionals.
Right. And then so let's just say someone is, healthy. I mean, I know with this disease, you could have it without showing symptoms. Let's say you are someone that is at home. Is there a way to stay healthy right now?
Yeah, and I think that's a better sort of thing to keep in mind is, making sure we're doing the right practices as far as hand washing, not touching our face, social distancing. That stuff's obvious. I think we all kind of know that right now. But then we're at home. We're stuck at home. What do we do now? Can we improve our health or immune system so that we don't get sick in general or with this? And I think that's a good place to put our attention right now. A lot of us are at home a little bit more often now. So do the basics of good health, which oftentimes are too busy to do. Sleep, eat well, good nutrition, some exercise. That always has to be that baseline. And sure, there are probably a couple of supplements you can take. Vitamin D, a lot of Canadians are deficient in vitamin D, right? And we know that a little bit of that can help the immune system.
Right.
Vitamin D, vitamin C, a little bit of zinc. Those kinds of things that we're thinking about just to give the immune system a little bit of a boost, a little bit more power at this time.
See, I went to a naturopath and they told me vitamin D. So
Mm-hmm.
every morning I get up, I have my teaspoon of apple cider vinegar and my 4 drops of vitamin D. And then I take 2 multivitamins, 2 fish oil, and my collagen in my coffee. I feel fantastic.
That's perfect right there. Yeah.
Now, zinc is interesting because I actually saw a YouTube video from a doctor in the US. Now, this guy was completely over the top. So I don't know whether he's full of it or whether what he said was making sense because he had a report from some other company. And he was kind of espousing that the report was wrong and that you should be doing these things. And he mentioned zinc along with quinine.
Right. Okay. So quinine is one of the class of medication, one of the medications that they're looking at right now for treatment.
Okay. So he said
hydroxychloroquine.
Right. And so he was mentioning go out and get, I guess it's banned in the US to sell, but he was saying you can still buy it, but he goes also tonic water has lots of it in it.
Oh yeah, that's true, but it's not quite in the right form as far as absorbability and then the quantity. I think tonic water is used it's a very interesting topic. The quinines actually come from a plant called cinchona, and cinchona bark, the bark of that tree is where all these quinine alkaloid compounds come from. And yeah, that bark is used for making tonic water, but it's not quite the same thing to say that there's quinine or usable quinine in tonic water.
Oh, good, because I was going to go do the toilet paper thing with all the tonic water that was in the store.
See, and that's a perfect example, Dan, of misinformation. You take a little bit of information and you make it mean something else without it, understanding what it actually means and what it's actually about. Yeah, it'd be nice. It'd be great if we could use tonic water as medicine. Tonics all around, right, Willie?
I agree. But here's the thought, though, with mental health, like people are, we're hearing now mental health, this and that, whatever. And we're talking about, so people are taking, working out, sleeping properly, taking the right amount of vitamins, eating properly. Would that help? I mean, it obviously would help. What are other kind of methods people can use to sort of get their mental health in check during this time?
Well, mental health is really important. I think let's get away from just the immune system health and am I going to get sick from COVID health. Most of us won't. The vast majority of us won't even know anyone that got sick, touch wood, the way things are going. But for people that are affected by mental health, you probably do know someone. Even ourselves can be affected that way. And that's not hard in times like this. So I think mental health should be at the top of mind. And those are really more of the concerns that I talk about with my patients is the stress around this topic, the mental health issues around this topic. And then a lot of people who are kind of sitting around the TV a little bit more and eting some more potato chips and stuff like that. I'm seeing a little bit of that these days too. Now, I know, Bill, you're not doing that. I'm not saying you.
I love my Cool Ranch Doritos, but no, I'm trying to eat less chips. I've eaten more fruit recently, and my body is not used to it. So yeah, I'm like, I feel I have to go to the bathroom again or whatever because the fruit and spinach I'm eating now, it's healthily.
It doesn't help when your fruit's been marinated in vodka for a week.
That is true. But what do you tell your clients, though, that are at home around CNN, which is just a pit of negativity?
Yeah, garbage.
How do they break that cycle?
Yeah, CNN and the news in general can be an extremely stressful thing, and you have to acknowledge that and see it as something that's a source of stress, and therefore limit it. Don't have it on in the background all day long. And for those that really are kind of obsessed about learning more and more about COVID and all the information, try and set aside time in the day. Don't let it eat up your entire day and you're doing it all the time and it's consuming you in the back of your head. Rather spend your half hour, 45 minutes doing it and get it over with, rather than it consuming you. So those are a couple things mental health wise, but really practicing I think we have to use the time that we have to get in touch with some health habits.
Right.
Whatever that means for us. I think everyone can take a step forward that way. And mental health has to be one of those topics. So if you're one of those people that is consumed on CNN, create some space for sure. Get outside, get some fresh air, get some sunlight, talk to somebody, do something else that makes you feel good inside. Yeah. And I think that can be a road to better mental health.
CNN is nothing but trash. Like I don't watch it at all. It's like there's nothing on TV. I don't even think I've watched a regular TV program in a month and a half. Yeah. Because there's nothing but negativity because that's what gets them their advertising and their viewership.
Yeah, it's very true. Be very careful as far as what's on the screen. What's it trying to do to you? It's often trying to make us into a different emotion, one of fear or one of inadequacy. Like even commercials have that. I mean, those are specifically engineered to make us do something that we're not doing right now, which is to go out and buy something. So all of that is geared to tap into something, and we need to limit that. It can't be happening a lot.
Totally agree. People have always questioned me because I record. I don't watch anything live. Record the news. So if there's something I literally watch national news and I watch Canadian news primarily. I find CTV very fact based, and they don't try to like CNN has the black graphic and the COVID spore floating in the background, and they have Chris Cuomo
crying
out his COVID-19 virus, out of breath, and just crying. I can't shake this virus. What is going on? And then Brooke Baldwin, another anchor, has COVID-19, and she's like, I almost died. Like it's like, guys,
it's like, why are you working?
You are not the news. The news is the disease. Let's talk about the disease and the facts. Yeah. I do not give an F about you almost died. And then in these mansions. So I don't have any sympathy for these anchors. I mean, everyone has it. It's a disease.
Yeah.
So it's ridiculous.
Agreed, Willard. And, I think COVID is a good reminder about overall health. Look at the risk factors for complications with COVID. Elderly, sure, but beyond that, people with heart disease, people who have diabetes, people who are obese, people who are smokers, those are the people that are going to get it the worst. And so use that as motivation. This is an extra reminder that having healthy lifestyle practices can be very meaningful for your health. Sorry, but I'm looking at you. I don't know why I'm just staring at you right now. Don't mind me.
Well, Dan runs 10 kilometers a day. I walked 5 today.
See, I'm the opposite. Romi. I've actually taken this time to get on a health program. So I started yoga for the first time in my life. I've been doing it every day for a month and a half. I've gotten on this morning routine of all these supplements. And then I've ran 142 kilometers since April 1st.
Holy, wow.
You're a runner. What have you run?
That's a lot of kilometers. That is a lot per week. Wow.
You know what, so I run a tax practice.
Wait. So 3 weeks you did 140? Holy crow.
Yeah.
Ooh.
I've ran.
So how are the legs feeling? How are the feet feeling?
Honest to God, they don't. So I'll tell you that. So a month and a half ago, I went for my first run at the track behind my house. I'm right behind St. Stephen's High School here.
Okay.
I ran 3 kilometers and thought I was going to die.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
And then all of a sudden one day I was sitting at home and I had to go to do a Staples order.
Uh-huh.
And I was like, you know what? I haven't driven a car in like a week and a half. I really don't feel like it. So I'm going to run to Staples.
That's awesome. Yeah.
I didn't realize how far Staples was. It ended up being a 9-kilometer run, but I committed. And so I was there and back. And then the next day I went for another run. I did another 10 kilometers. I was like, this really isn't that bad. But what I found was, because I run a tax business and right now I'm really, really busy, it totally got my mind in a different mindset when I was done the runs.
Right.
And so then I was on a podcast. I was listening to Andy Frischella, and I heard about his 75 hard program.
Uh-huh.
So I started doing that 13 days ago.
Amazing.
So every day you have to do an outdoor 45-minute workout. So I've ran every day now for the last 13. And it's been in snow and wind and all kinds. I just ordered a weighted vest. So that's now I'm going to start running with a weighted vest on. But it's completely changed my mindset, the way I feel. Like it's completely been a 180. It's unbelievable.
Well, Dan, kudos to you, man. Like, you're exactly what I'm talking about here, taking this to find out what's important for you and doing it. And you kind of blasted through a couple of levels there. So, showing what we're actually capable of a little bit there as well.
The key, I don't know where yoga's been.
You can't underestimate the cardiovascular, the fitness benefits, but mental health benefits of physical health. My favorite medicine to recommend is activity. It's good for the mind. It's good for the body. Look at our bodies. We're mostly arms and legs. We are designed to move around. Even you, Willard, you're mostly arm and leg.
Well, here I have been more active. I walked. My app said 30 miles last week.
That's awesome. That's awesome.
That is. And how many sit-ups did you do? You were doing sit-ups too.
I do 200 a day, but I'm so large. But yeah, my stomach is like rumbling. My body's. I mean, here's the thing. Like, my diet could be better. It is getting better. But just by moving, Romi's right, activity. Because I tell you, my mind is. You could be in a vortex of negativity, which will just drag you down. You're sluggish. So it's a fight. You could get trapped in that CNN trap of watching it all day, or go outside, taking that fresh air, even though it's cold and windy today. And it's a complete and utter change in how you think for the rest of your day. So I agree.
Absolutely. I have young kids, and once they're getting a little bit funky, we just toss them in the backyard, and that's when you see them settle down. If we put them in front of the TV, they get more riled up, and they get more annoying. So we see it with them.
What do you say about kids then? Good question. So kids. So you have kids who are home. I mean, Dan has two kids. You have 3, Romi.
Yeah.
What do you do to manage them during this time?
I'm actually resting on my previous training as a sergeant in the Canadian Forces. And Army Dad is showing up. But what that is routine. It's schedule. It's that boundaries actually are good for especially young people. So they're not just feeling idle and lackadaisical. So yeah, we do the homeschooling. We do that 1.5 hours, 2 hours every day. They're outside half hour, an hour every day. We do activities and chores that they can do, and we try to organize that. And then, in the odd time, yesterday was really windy, so we put a little bit of TV on, but really not that much. We really try to put the TV. That's right.
So the same sleep schedule.
Yeah, same sleep schedule as well. Yeah, maybe a little change there, but yeah, we're trying to keep that in routine as much as possible. Yeah.
Now, as a naturopath, do you give your kids any vitamins, supplements, natural things like that? Because I have to tell you, I have become a huge naturopath fan. I wasn't 100% sold on it all because I love my doctor.
Yeah.
My doctor was this amazing woman. She had the greatest personality. She was from India. Her husband was from Scotland. He's a heart surgeon. So she had like this real funky sense of humor. And but then she went and retired on me. But I really liked her because she never pushed like prescription medicine. Like I would go in with my big vitamin pack and I'd be like, hey, should I use this? And she'd be like, you know why your pee is like bright green? Is because there goes your vitamin that's just been peed out. Like it's a waste of time, right? And she just put me on things that I actually needed. So I really liked her. And then when she decided to retire, I went to the lady that took her place and I was like, oh my God, all she wants to do is like prescribe me drugs to do all these things.
Yeah.
So I went to see a naturopath.
Yeah.
And that was like a mind-blowing experience because you don't just take out the prescription pad and start writing things down, right?
That's right.
So is there anything that you do right now for your kids along those lines?
Yeah, in the beginning, I got kind of caught up in it, and I did a lot. Now, since the kids are at home and we have a regular routine, it's not a lot. But the main things that we do are kind of similar to the adults. But vitamin C, I do. There's a chewable one kids love, and they'll take that. There's also a chewable multi that I like, and I'll give that to them as well.
What brand? What brand are these?
Yeah, so Natural Factors is the kind of retail brand that's out there. Vitamin C is a great option from them.
Right.
And I'll name a product here, and I don't have any connection with the company, but it's called HMF Child Plus Multi. And that product is a chewable tablet with probiotics and a multivitamin. And I've been using that for years for the kids, and we see it after Halloween usually. It's October, November. The kids have had the sugar in the blood, and now all the kids are getting sick at school. And that one has saved our household. And I'm talking about the normal cold and flu. That's what I'm talking about. But that has saved from it sort of running through the house and just annihilating all of us, which, as we know, totally sucks.
No.
So I like that product.
Is it available on Amazon?
You can see it on Amazon. It should be a Healthy Planet. Their website's pretty good that way too.
Okay, because Amazon's at my house every other day. Like this is killing me. This pandemic. I looked it up the other day. I've made like 27 orders in the last like month and a half.
I'm getting to know my Amazon driver. He's a nice guy.
Yeah, he's great.
You guys are both. I hope you're both Prime members to be getting that many.
Oh, absolutely.
Delivered to your home.
Yep.
Romi, we keep hearing about the second wave of. And again, in real, I had a meeting this morning. Reality is, and correct me if I'm wrong, that social distancing is a measure to help minimize the first wave of this disease. The reality will be when they reopen up the economy, June, July, that once summer is over, that the second wave will probably come, if there is one, end of October through to Christmas. What are your thoughts, Doctor?
They're saying that we are at maybe in the peak right now.
Right.
So that's where they're making that timeline from, as far as the second wave. So as long as it plays out that way, the one concern is that we're a little bit zoomed in right now. So it does look like the peak, but the peak goes a little bit up and down. So we'll see over the next coming weeks. Second wave, yes, if it happens. The social distancing is a tool to prevent spread. So it can be a tool to slow down a second wave and prevent a sizable second wave.
Right.
So, what will be interesting is how they step by step and what they open up in a stepwise manner and what that timeline looks like. And where we're at in the opening up process, even in the end of the summer or September.
Right. Because is also what I'm seeing, and everyone's talking about how Quebec's numbers are. I think Quebec's testing more than Ontario is. So Ontario's numbers are, and again, I'm no doctor. The Ontario's numbers are, in my opinion, underreported because it wasn't until last Wednesday they were testing up to 5,000 a day. Before they were testing at 2,000 to 3,000. So the numbers seem to be creeping up each day of cases. However, the testing is now reflecting, I think, the new numbers that we're seeing each day. Is that a concern if we don't continue to have high level of testing moving forward or, into the fall?
I think the testing is very important for knowing when a second wave is coming or if it is happening. And when there is an outbreak, where is that outbreak, what are the parameters of that outbreak, can be identified through large-scale testing. And so that's a critical tool. I think it's a very important tool in mapping out the outbreak.
Right, and then so let's just say, so once this, you have a question, Dan? I feel like I'm running today's show. Any questions, Dan?
No, that's exactly, yeah.
All right, so I'll continue on. So let's just discuss then, because we have testing that's happening now at 5. So the testing will continue, it's safe to assume, indefinitely.
Indefinitely, until there's a better option.
Right, until there's a better option. The company that the government has now ordered a couple million 1-hour test kits from.
Yeah.
How do you think that will help with the minimizing of the second wave? And like, how will it help?
So that when you conduct the testing, you map out that there's an outbreak happening, this many people, this kind of community, maybe due to these contacts,
right.
through mapping their story and the testing. And then that might cause governments to change the way they're opening up, or maybe close up society again.
Right. Because now we have retirement homes. Dan, your mouth moves. Ask a question.
No, I don't ask a lot of questions on this because I'm not quite as diplomatical as Will is. See, I think a lot of this problem would be solved if people weren't dumb. Mm-hmm. And there's way too many dumb people in this world that, like, I go for runs and I see people on their porches and in their backyard. There's no social distancing going on. They can't stay home. I see a couple. They're definitely not related. They're making out on one of those green hydro boxes as I'm running by them. Like, there are just a bunch of dumb people.
They could be siblings.
Like, well, they could. But then, like, you see down there, like, is it a great time to open up an entire beach in Florida and have 100,000 people back out on the beach?
Yeah.
Not a great
apparently that was not a real story.
Right?
Apparently the story was exaggerated. Again, the media misleads. But I would certainly say that we have certain age groups that are being targeted more greatly, or demographics, i.e. our seniors, for instance. How do you minimize the impact on those homes? I mean, they've implemented a couple of things for staff. You couldn't work at one home, etc. But the reality will be is that you have a population that needs people to help them. The people that help them are underpaid. These facilities are underfunded. So, like, do you see any changes happening there, Romi?
I see the dialogue about those changes. I can't remember which public health doctor it was, but talking about at this point redoubling their efforts because of what's been happening in the long-term care facilities.
Right.
I mean, it's kind of a travesty. Once that virus enters the building, it's completely wreaking havoc. Right. And I think they were slow on recognizing that and preparing for that aspect of the disease. So it's in the dialogue right now. It's going to mean stricter protocols for staff. Staff is, I think, who is being identified as how the virus is transmitting, because visitors have been stopped for those kinds of centers for quite some time now.
So let me ask you this, okay? So I'll be devil's advocate once again, because I run a business and I talk to business owners all day long. That's what we do. I've got a lot of small corporate clients and I talk to them constantly, especially during this time. So instead, we've shut down basically the entire world, right? And we're going to have more bankruptcies, much more mental health issues. Families are going to be broken apart. All of this, right? And okay, we're going to save a few lives as well. But would it not make more sense to take all this money, instead of putting all this money that's been in there to stimulate and try to government money that's helping all these businesses, instead of leaving them open, but taking money towards the people who really need it, like those. So all your long-term care facilities, they close. Elderly people stay home. Put the money towards those people, right? And make sure that they can stay sheltered and safe from the virus. And for people who want to go out and still do things, you have it that way. That way, people that are relatively healthy will get the virus. They'll become somewhat immune to it. And we wouldn't have this complete shutdown of the entire world. Does that make any sense?
I think you're talking about like a segmented shutdown of society. So a particular demographic is more affected.
Right. Like if I told my in-laws yesterday, they came over for my son's birthday. They're like 70 some odd years old. I said, if I were you, I would never leave my house. I would take my pension. I would sit at home. I would watch Netflix all day. And I would just take care of myself, right?
Right. Right.
Now they don't. They actually go to Costco and they do all these different things. But for
Yeah.
me, that's what I would do. And that's what every intelligent elderly person should be doing, right? But I just think that this whole shutting down of the world and the money the government's throwing out, it's helping one problem a bit, but it's going to create an awful lot of problems down the road.
I wouldn't discount that. It's an incredible cost to this solution. It's an incredible cost, and it's not without other healthcare ramifications.
Right.
And so it does make me scratch my head. I mean, I sit as a spectator in this as well. But I do look at some numbers about the disease itself, about the virus. And when the flu is really bad, like a bad year of the virus, about 0.3, 0.4% of people who are infected, they die. And that's a big deal. That's enough for them to tell the entire population, go get a vaccine, so that we can make that 0.3 turn into a 0.2 or 0.1. So those kind of numbers mean a lot to the healthcare system.
What number is that? So if 0.3% of Canadians die per year who get the flu of the regular basic flu, how many people are dying per year?
Sorry, I don't know the raw number on that. I don't know the raw number, but the comparison with COVID is a percentage, which is 3 to 4%.
Oh wow,
that's quite a factor of difference. 3 to 4% of people who get the disease that die, and that doesn't count for all the people who get really sick and now need the ICU. That's a big chunk of people as well, and that's more than we can bear. And then there's the aspect of the disease of how contagious it is. Much more contagious than a bad flu is, as far as one person can infect 3 or 4 other people. And that once we're infected, we carry it without knowing for weeks. That's the kicker. If it was a day or 2 that we carried it for without knowing, it may not be a big deal. But so all those 3 are fairly significant complicating factors about the spread and seriousness of it. And that's why the response is unlike anything we've seen and hopefully ever have to see again.
Right. And with the death rate, because I'm glad you brought that up, because my whole thing is, if you look at our friends to the north, the United States, where it's a gong show there, it seems. They're allowing golf courses to open. It's ridiculous. But
they should allow golf courses to open. That is the best social distancing around. I've golfed with you. We never see each other. I'm over here in a sand trap.
Romi's golfed me as well. Romi knows how bad I am. I'm a bad golfer.
Deep in the forest.
And both times I just pick up my ball after like 10 swings.
I get your point though.
But with the death rate, if you test more people, and ergo more people have the disease or had the disease, because I think the tests can tell you if you actually also had the disease,
right?
Will the death rate then fall? So if you test more people, the death rate per capita would fall.
It depends on what you're doing with that testing information. Yeah, you can test them. That's good. But now what's the response? Are those people, are they being effectively quarantined? Or because of increases in infections in the population, are there new population measures? So those kinds of responses that are guided by the test results, I think, are more important and more about what's at play.
Wow. Okay. Wow. Thank you, Romi. Any other questions there, Dan?
I just want to say thanks a lot, guys, for having me on. To see a couple of local Durham boys do their thing on a weekly basis with your show, it's been great to see. I have a practice in South Ajax, and been seeing patients in Durham for my whole career. And if anyone who sees this, they want to check me out online, they can do that, ndreina.com. That's naturopathic doctor, ndreina.com. And I'm always happy to help people with healthy lifestyle. The stuff that, Dan, you were talking about with respect to diving into good health with food and nutrition and a little bit of supplementation, that's right up my alley, and I love helping people with that.
Do you have a phone number for your office?
Say that again, Will?
Phone number?
Yeah, it's 647-291-8976.
I do have a question. I do have a question now, Will.
Of course you do.
Yeah.
Because, so when somebody comes to you, how does that work? Like, obviously you do your regular intake form. Do you do like a blood test ahead of time to find out what's going on with them, and then you can kind of see what's lacking, what's not? Because I've been to both. I've seen a naturopath who doesn't do any of that, and my thought was when I was there was, how would we even know what or if I need anything, right?
Right. Right.
So how do you operate?
It kind of depends on the situation. It depends on what our starting point is and what our goals are for getting the job done. There are some things, and I'm sure there are other doctors out there that we see fairly regularly. We can tell the signs and symptoms and we can move forward with. We don't want to use any more resources than we need to and just be efficient. But there's a lot of situations there where people might have more complicated health goals, especially in those situations. Often blood work is involved. But the beauty of it is that I try to work with the medical system. So we can get a lot of that blood work done. It may have already been done by the medical doctor or get it done by the medical doctor and use that information. And if there's a gap there, we will work to fill that. But I do practice kind of a complementary form of medicine. I work with a bigger system and a individualized form. So I'm really working at that person. Where are they in their health story and how complicated is it overall?
Awesome. Awesome.
Well, again, Dr. Romi Raina ND, thank you very much. Again, his phone number is 647-291-8976. You said your website's ndraina.com?
You got it.
Thank you. And again, everyone has many questions during what is a very interesting and weird time in our world. It's important to get the right information to suit your life. We brought Romi on here today. If you have questions, reach out to him. We'll have his number within our post of this video that's going to come out today. Again, Romi, thank you. Thank you, Dan, for your usual. And we'll see you guys all soon. Thank you.
Take care. Thank you. Take care.
Guys.